The self-proclaimed professor against political correctness is now making more than $50,000 per month through online donors, and he's got big plans for the future.
It isn't really about the right to decide. It's about the right to insist upon by force.
Professor Jordan B. Peterson made national headlines last fall for refusing to use genderless pronouns, even appearing on this show.
And I've been thinking about this political correctness issue for a long time, and it's been bothering me.
His viewpoint caused controversy, but also gained him supporters who flocked to his YouTube channel, helping him rack up millions of views for his online lectures. Now, to subsidize his production costs, he's turned to the crowdfunding site Patreon.
A number of people have been attempting to take me to task for the fact that my Patreon support has been, let's call it, overwhelmingly successful.
Aiming to build on his online success, Peterson is setting his sights on an even bigger goal.
I want to move genuine humanities education out of the universities where it isn't being taught anyways, as far as I can tell, online where people can access it freely.
Jordan Peterson joins me now in studio. Good to see you again. Thanks for being here.
Morning.
Why start an online university?
Well, because the technology is ready for it. That's the most important issue. There's absolutely no reason why high-quality education can't be made available to masses of people at low cost. So, and since that's possible, there's absolutely no reason not to do it.
I mean, you say low cost. You're saying that students would what? Only pay for their examinations? Is that
Well,
how
that
you
would
structure
be,
it?
we're not sure exactly how it would run, but the one possibility would be a monthly subscription that would help pay for the content, but the primary source of revenue would be on the accreditation end, on the examination end, for sure.
So how would this work for students? What would they see? What would they learn?
Well, we would probably start with a list of the 100 greatest books of Western civilization, I think. We'd start it as a great books program. And we're thinking about making a timeline. Imagine a timeline that stretches, say, from 3000 BC up to the present time that you could zoom in on. And imagine lectures that would be available at different levels of resolution. So, for example, you might have a lecture about the 2000 to 1000 BC and the major occurrences during that period, that you could zoom in and get specialty lectures where the historical knowledge was detailed enough to provide information at that level of resolution. And then the content, I don't know yet. I think getting the underlying technical structure right at the moment is more important than the content, because I think content would generate itself if the incentive systems were set up properly.
Why do you think this would work more effectively than a traditional university format?
Because the traditional universities have abandoned the humanities.
But
They've become almost entirely corrupt, as far as I can tell.
But you are a tenured university professor at the University of Toronto.
Yes.
So how do you reconcile those two?
Well, the university disciplines that still have some grounding in science seem to be, I would say, still intact. But the humanities, we know, for example, that in the United States, the ratio of Democrats to Republicans in the humanities is about 30 to 1. It's taken an unbelievable leftward tilt. And about 80% of humanities papers are never cited once. And the humanities have been dominated by a kind of postmodern neo-Marxist, what would you call it, cult ideology since the 1990s, probably starting in the 1960s. And so they've abandoned their mission to students. Their mission should be to teach students to speak, to think, and to read, and to become familiar with the best of the world, fundamentally, so that they can hone their cognitive skills and operate effectively in the world. And I don't believe they're doing that at all. I think it's a scam pretty much from top to bottom, and it's a very expensive scam. So it's too top-heavy. It's going to topple.
So would you continue to work at the University of Toronto
Sure.
if you started up this online university platform?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
What's been the reaction from your colleagues?
Oh, minimal. I mean, the reaction from the university to the political turmoil that I was embroiled in was first negative, and then I would say neutral, and now things seem to be just fine. My colleagues haven't really said anything either about the political turmoil, about this plan. So, but I don't think that the change, I don't think will come from within the universities anyways, because generally speaking, when there's a new technology introduced, it isn't the old systems that adopt it. They're not capable of operating in the new technological world because it requires a new approach. And you might ask, well, why do I have the expertise to do that? And perhaps I don't, but I have worked on software development for 25 years, and I have some good partners and a lot of people who are interested in helping me with this.
It seems like a lot of people, $50,000 a month is a lot of money. Were you surprised by that?
I'm staggered daily by that. Of course, it's absolutely overwhelming.
And that money goes to?
Well, it goes to, right at the moment, one of the things that's helped funding is I'm doing a series on the psychological significance of the biblical stories. And I used that money to rent the Isabel Bader Theatre up front for 12 weeks and to hire a film crew. And it goes in part to help me cover the costs of the videos that I keep making. And it also, well, that's fundamentally what it's doing at the moment.
When do you expect this to be up and running?
That's a very good question. I mean, we're going to start with a website in the next month and a half that will be designed to help students and their parents identify postmodern content in courses so that they can avoid them. So I've been working with a specialist in artificial intelligence who's written a script to discriminate between postmodern neo-Marxist course content and classical content in the sciences and the humanities. And so we'll have a consumer information website up in a month. And I'm hoping that over about a 5-year period, a concerted effort could be made to knock the enrollment down in postmodern neo-Marxist cult classes by 75% across the West. So our plan initially is to cut off the supply to the people who are running the indoctrination cults.
We'll be watching. Jordan Peterson, thanks for being here this morning.